This presentation will cover 8 main topics for hosting a car show: date, time, and place, advertising, class types, judging, entertainment, concessions, sponsorships, and awards. Setting a date, time, and place may seem a little trivial, but it could be the difference between a successful car show or an unsuccessful one. The date could very well be the hardest choice of all. There are many organizations that use car shows to raise money. Therefore, you should do a little research into other car shows in the area and try to pick a date that does not coincide with other events. Setting a time for your date may seem the easiest task of getting started. However, it can become difficult if you let too many factors intervene. Once more, you should check with local car clubs and media outlets. You can decide on an average time based on what others schedule that will work for your organization and volunteers. The location of your event is just as important. You will need to ask your organization a few questions before choosing the locale. How big of an event do we wish to have for our first time hosting? Should we invite local businesses or food vendors to set up and sell their merchandise? And if so, what is our limit on how many we invite? How many participants do we plan to, and how many participants in the show do we anticipate? You need to be sure to choose the best suited for your local area as well as your organization. Advertising. It is always a good practice to advertise your event as far in advance as possible. This will give event enthusiasts plenty of time to make plans to attend. Also, advertising well in advance will allow time for the discussion of your event to be spread by word of mouth, which I have found to be the best form of advertising. However, don't just plan on this. You should also put together flyers, use social media such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and depending on your budget, you could also rent a billboard or two. There are a great many class types to choose from. First, your organization will need to discuss the size expectation of your event. Then you can decide on how many class types to include. For instance, you can create 20 different class types, such as by the year made or make of the vehicle. But for a first-year car show, it may be best to choose not to divide vehicles into any class, but have them all register and compete for the same set of awards. As an example, you could keep your show to a top 25 award classification with a Mayor's Choice Award, a Spectator's Award, or a Best of Show Award. To judge or not to judge is a big question. When you begin thinking about whether or not to have judges for your event, you should consider a few things. Are judges necessary? What are some pros and cons of having judges? What are the benefits of not having judges? First, I'd like to explain that judges can make a car show more expensive, not just at registration, but also if you have to pay for the judge's time. So consider some pros and cons for your event. Entertainment is important for a car show event. Should you decide to hire a band or a DJ, you can utilize them to thank your vendors and sponsors throughout the day. You can also have them announce door prizes or even the awards at the end. Awards. You need to decide what kind of awards that you will be handing out to those participants, such as trophies, or should you do plaques? You can also do a little research with your local car clubs to decide what's most commonly used in your area. And depending on that, you can determine the value of those awards. Thank you, and I hope that this helped.